In this homework video guide, we will be going over a few more polynomial operations, and one of the main techniques for this homework video guide is the distribution technique. So if you have a number on the outside the brackets, you can simply distribute that into the brackets like that. So 6 times 7x is going to be 42x, and 6 times negative 3 will be negative 18. So we're just multiplying right through the brackets. Okay, so for our next one, for number 4c, I have 4x now. So 4x times 2y will be 8xy. And if I distribute the 4x onto the positive 8z, I get plus 32xz. And there's your final answer for that one. And for letter D now, I have a negative x. And if I distribute that into the brackets here, I get negative x squared. And then if I distribute this negative x onto the negative 5y, we get positive 5xy. And that's your final answer there. Okay, let's keep on going on here. For letter F here, now I have negative 2a. And if I distribute that into the bracket here, I get negative 2ab. And then if I multiply that onto the negative c, I get positive 2ac. And then finally, negative 2a times positive 5d is going to be negative 10ad. So a lot of these questions you can just complete in one step here. And for letter G, I guess the 3x is on the right-hand side here. So if I go backwards here, I get 3 times 3x, which is 9x. And 3x times that 3 will be 3x squared and a positive sign. Okay, so that's it for that one. Let's keep on moving through. Let's go on to letter H now. Now we have the 2x out in front here, so let's distribute that into the brackets. So that's going to be positive 2x squared. And then 2x times negative 5 is going to be negative 10xy. And the 2x times the 4z is going to be positive 8xz. Okay, so that's it for that question. Let's keep on going. Let's move on to the next series here. We've got expand and simplify here. So there's a 3 on the outside here. So if I just expand this into the brackets, I get 3x. And 3 times 5 is going to be 15. So 3 times 5 is 15. And then we have the minus 7, which is tagging along. Okay, and then we have some like terms here, the 15 and the minus 7. So we just need to subtract those two numbers. So 15 minus 7 is going to be positive 8. So there's 2 steps for that particular question. Okay, moving on to letter B here. I would highlight the negative 2, and we're going to distribute the negative 2 into the brackets. So I get negative 10x, and negative 2 times 11 is going to be a negative 22. And then we have the 8 that's tagging along at the front here. And then if I just look at my like terms here, 8 minus 22 here, that's going to be negative 14, and then the minus 10x is just tagging along. So this answer is correct. If you want to write the variable first, you can write your answer as negative 10x minus 14. So that's another correct way of writing that particular answer there. Okay, let's keep on going along here. Let's go on to letter D here. Okay, so I have a 2 here, and there's a positive 4 there. So now we need to distribute into the brackets. So this would be 2x plus 6. And if I distribute the brackets there, I get positive 8x minus 4. Okay, and then we can just collect the like terms here. So 2x plus 8x is going to be 10x. And positive 6 and minus 4 is going to be negative 2. So 10x minus 2 is your, 10x plus 2, right? So 6 minus 4 is positive 2. So 10x plus 2 is your final answer there. And for letter E, I guess we are distributing again here. So 2 into the brackets here, we get 2x plus 6. And then if I distribute the negative 4 into the brackets here, I get negative 8x. And then negative 4 times the negative 1 will be positive 4. So be careful with that positive sign there, right? A negative times a negative will give you a positive expression there. Okay, so now I have a 2x and a negative 8x. So 2 minus 8 is going to be negative 6x. And then I have a 6 and a positive 4, so 6 plus 4 is going to be 10. So negative 6x plus 10. Okay, let's move on to letter H now. So letter H, there's a few things going on. First of all, I see the brackets there. There's nothing in the brackets there, so I can, there's nothing in front of the brackets, so I can just remove the brackets. And then I have a -2, and the -2 can just distribute into the brackets. So I get -4x, and then positive -2 times -10 is going to be positive 20. Okay, and then let's go ahead and collect like terms. So -x minus 4x, that's going to be -5x, right? So 1 minus 4 is going to be -5. And then I have this 2 and a plus 20, that's going to be positive 22. Sorry. So -5x plus 22 there. Okay, so we want to letter I. So once again, we're just distributing here. We have 6 multiplying into the brackets here. So I get -6x. And then 6 times positive 4 is going to be positive 24. And then we can just distribute into the brackets here. That's going to be a -x. And then a negative times a negative is going to be positive 15. Okay, so once we clear the brackets, we can collect like terms. So -6x minus x is going to be a -7x. And then we have a 24 plus 15 is going to be 39. So plus 39 there. All right, so a lot of operations here, but once again, we are practicing the distribution technique, and then after the distribution technique, we're collecting like terms for most of these problems. And question number 7 is pretty much the same thing. I mean, there's a 2 on the outside here, so let's distribute into the brackets. So we've been doing this technique a few times in this homework video. So 2x plus 6, and then the -x and the -1 are tagging along. And after that, we collect like terms. So 2x minus x is going to be positive x. And then plus 6 minus 1 is going to be plus 5. So 6 minus 1 is going to be 5. Okay, let's move on to a few more here. That's 7c. So let's move on to the letter F now. Now we just combine more numbers and more variables here. But if we multiply it through the brackets here, so we get a -2 here. Now, for the variables here, if you have an x and x to the power 4, if you multiply that together, you get x to the power of 5. Okay, so we just add the powers there. And then you have a -2x, and you multiply that with the positive 3x cubed. So -2 times positive 3 is going to be -6. And then when you have an x times an x cubed, you get x to the power of 4. Okay, so that's it for that particular bracket. And for the next bracket here, if I multiply -7x times positive 2x to the 4, well, -7 times 2 is going to be -14. And then I have an x and an x to the power of 4, so if I add the powers there, I get x to the power of 5. All right, and then now I have a -7x, and I multiply that with the -x cubed, so a negative times a negative gives you a positive. And then we have a 7, and since I have 3 x's there and 1 x there, that's going to be x to the power of 4. Okay, and after that, we just collect like terms here. So both of these terms in yellow have a x to the power of 5. So -2 minus 14 is going to be -16. So -16 x to the 5. And then I have a -6x to the 4 and a positive 7x to the 4. So -6 plus 7 is going to be positive 1 x to the 4. And although that's correct, you can write this as -16 x to the 5 plus x to the 4. And that's it for letter F. Okay, let's move on to letter H. Okay, for 7H here, we just have to do the distribution technique 3 times in this problem. So if I have a 3x times a positive x, I get 3x squared. And if I multiply 3x by -3, I get -9x. Okay, and then if I multiply the -2x with this positive x, I get -2x squared. And then this -2x times this -1, that'll give me positive 2x. Okay, and then with my green marker here, I can distribute over here, so that'll be positive 2x squared. And then this x times the -2 is going to be -2x. Okay. And if I just get my yellow marker here, I notice that this -2x squared and this positive 2x squared, those two terms will just cancel out. All right, and then I have a positive 2x and a -2x, and those two terms will cancel out. And I'm just left with the first two terms, which are 3x squared minus 9x. And that's it for 7H. Okay, let's move on to letter J now, 7J. So I have an A, I have a B, and I have a C. So this is very similar to the previous problem. We just distribute, and if I multiply the A and the B, I get AB. And then A times negative C is going to be negative AC. And then B times C is going to be positive BC. And then B times negative A is going to be negative BA. And C times A here in green is going to be positive CA. And C times negative B is going to be negative CB. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look for places where we can simplify. So I have an AB here, and I have a negative AB here. And if you think about this, this is positive AB, and this is really negative A times B, right? So I can just flip the terms around. So it turns out that this term and that term just cancel out. So the first two terms cancel out. And then I have a negative AC and a positive CA. And this term here I can write as positive AC, right? So it turns out this negative AC and the positive CA, they can also just cancel out. And using the same kind of concept here, if I look at the positive BC and the negative CB, I can write this as a negative B times C, and it turns out that that and that will just cancel off. So since everything cancels, you just get a 0. And that's it for 7J. Okay, let's move on to letter K here. And for letter K, we need to distribute this term here in yellow into the brackets. So you got to be careful here. So you're multiplying the negative 4x and the 3x. So that's going to be negative 12x. And that's going to be x to the power of 4 because there's a 3 there and a 1x there. So 3 plus 1 is 4. And then we also have the y squared, which is just tagging along like that. Okay, so that's going to be a bit tricky, just kind of multiplying this negative 4x cubed y squared into the terms here. So if I multiply that into that term, I get negative 4 times 5 is 20, and then x cubed. And now the y's, the powers get added because I have a 2 there and a 1 there, so that'll be y to the power of 3. Okay, and then I have a negative 4x cubed, and we'll multiply that with this last term there. So this last term has a negative term, so a negative times a negative will be positive. And we have a 4 there, and if I combine the x cubed and the x, I get x to the power of 4, and then y squared with that y will give me y to the power of 3. All right, so a little bit of work to kind of get, a little bit of work there to kind of distribute everything. And then we also have this term in front, which is just 20 x cubed y cubed. Okay, and then from here on, I guess we can look for ways where we can simplify. Now this first term and this third term there, those two terms will just cancel out, right? So 20 minus 20 will be 0. And then we're just left with the second term, which is negative 12 x to the 4 y squared. And we're also left with the last term here, which is positive 4 x to the 4 y cubed. Okay, let's move on to the final two questions of this homework video guide. Okay. Okay, so for letter B here, so letter 8B, we need to determine a simplified expression for the area of the given shape here. So we need to find the area of this shape. And just by kind of looking at this particular shape here, there's a few ways you can do this. Perhaps we can maybe cut the rectangles into two pieces like that. So we know that this side right here is 4x. And then what we can do next is we could try to figure out what this green side is, and that will give us the area of that particular rectangle. This rectangle right here isn't too hard to figure out. So we have the length and, this is the length here and this is the width here. So if we multiply that out, we get 3x bracket x plus 2, right? So that's the area of that blue rectangle. And in order to find the area of we need to find the length of this green side right there. And that's not too hard to figure out because we know this entire length is going to be 2x plus 5. And we also know that this length right here is x plus 2. So we just need it to subtract the blue line from the green line. So the blue line has the equation 2x plus 5, and we just need to subtract the green line, which is x plus 2. Okay, so if I subtract these two expressions, the negative sign will distribute, giving you a negative x and a minus 2. So 2x minus x is going to be positive x, and plus 5 minus 2 is going to be positive 3. So x plus 3. So this line right here is just x plus 3. Okay, and once we figure that out, now we can find the area of this green rectangle right here. And basically it's just length times width, right? So this is your length, that's your width. If you multiply those two terms, you get 4x bracket x plus 3. Okay, so now your total area is going to be 4x bracket x plus 3, that's the green rectangle, plus the blue rectangle. The area of the blue rectangle is 3x times x plus 2. And just like the previous problems, you want to distribute. So this will be 4x squared plus 12x, and then plus 3x squared plus 6x, because we're just distributing that. Okay, let's go ahead and collect like terms now. 4x squared and 3x squared is going to be 7x squared, and 12x plus 6x is going to be 18x. And there is your area of that particular shape. Okay, moving on to the last question here. This expression can be written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and we need to find the value of a plus b minus c. Okay, so let's go ahead and just rewrite the problem out here. So this is another classic distribution question, and so a very good one at the very end here, just to kind of make sure we know this concept here. So let's go ahead and just highlight the terms that we're going to distribute into the brackets here. So 2x times 4 is going to be 8x, and 2x times negative 3x is going to be minus 6x squared. And then if I go into the brackets here, I get positive 10x squared, and then minus 5x. And then finally over here, if I distribute using the blue marker, a negative 3 times 4 is going to be negative 12x, and negative 3 times positive 2 is going to be negative 6. Okay, let's go ahead and collect like terms here. So negative 6 plus 10, that's going to be positive 4x squared. And once you're done with the like terms, you can cancel them off. And then I have an 8x and a negative 5x. So 8 minus 5 is going to be positive 3x. And then we have a negative 12x minus 6. So let's go ahead and combine the 3x and the negative 12x. So if I keep on combining this, 3 minus 12 is going to be negative 9x, and then minus 6. And then the question states that what do we need here? Ax squared. So we need ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so we just line up the numbers with the letters. Okay, so it turns out that a would equal to 4, b equals to negative 9, right? And c would equal to negative 6. And finally, what we need to do is we need to evaluate a plus b minus c. So finally, we need to evaluate a plus b minus c. So it turns out that a is 4, b is negative 9, and c is negative 6. Okay, so this will be 4 minus 9 plus 6. 4 plus 6 is 10 minus 9, and 10 minus 9 is going to be 1. Okay, so that concludes this homework video guide. So obviously we had a lot of these distribution questions. Hopefully with enough practice you can quickly go through most of these distribution problems once you get familiar with the general technique.